Got to be prepared.
Be prepared.
Spaces, things exist. And the lines that form the network of your mind. Behind the ripples of imagination are the particles and peripherals that made you who you are. Turn off, shut your eyes, listen to dispatches from outside the box.
Could it be that beyond our galaxy, resting deep in its sea of stars, planets, and mysteries, that we are not alone? Could it be that longing for freedom from our earthly entrapments causes us to concoct fantasies of things out there? Mankind has filled books, movies, and TV shows, enticing us to believe otherworldly life forms beyond anything we can see. Whether they are peaceful races living a serene meaning of life, or hungry, resource-driven warmongers set on devouring world after world, we Earthlings have imagined it all. Now that the governments of the world are finally catching up to what the people seem to know all along, are we quickly racing toward an intergalactic reveal? I'm C Michael Lanning, independent artist and mad scribbler, and tonight the Dispatches panel will be discussing the influences and true stories that help stoke the fires of our interplanetary imaginations. Before we go to our panelists, I'd like to invite you to like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, knock on the neighbor's door, spread the word for us over there.
Invite the aliens. Tell them.
Of course, the aliens. It has to be
tell the aliens.
So, and while you do that, we're going to meet the panel. Spaceship herding Stone Abdullah. Tell us who you are, sir.
Oh, well, keep that one under wraps, okay? I still have an NDA that I signed about that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Stone Abdullah. I'm a science fiction novelist, so aliens is right up my alley, man. Been writing for about 20-something odd years. I used to be a government scientist. Oh, yeah. Now, you see, it's getting interesting now.
That's why we have
Mitch is being attacked by an alien right now.
By the way, they're standing right beside me, but I'm just glad that this race of aliens, they have a lot of patience. So we're gonna segue that into Grandmaster Zim while I handle this right now. You said what? What's your name, Charles?
I'm really glad he got his posters back up.
There you go.
In his closet. It's all good.
Do you see that?
I do.
That?
Yep.
And
they're just far
also
enough away.
Intergalactic beings, right?
I was told they were strippers.
No, that's on the other side of the closet. They walk through every once in a while.
Yeah, that's just out the door.
That's past the aliens.
You think that's a light, but it's actually just a crack in the wall that's showing the light.
That's on the other side. They pay rent. It's fine. We have a peaceful existence.
That's the entrance to the multiverse right there.
So also, come on, Randy Invader Zimmerman. Let us
Invader
let us
Zim.
move on.
Yeah, wrong one. Anyway, hey everybody, I'm Randy Zimmerman. I've been in this comic business for decades and done all sorts of stuff. If you go over to Amazon right now, you can pick up War of the Worlds Infestation that I had the pleasure of writing. So 5-issue series all put together into a graphic novel, tells a great story about the Martians who decide to invade Earth again 100 years after their first attempt and having cured their little bacterial problem. It's a lot of fun. So and you know, I'm here for the aliens. So
see, we're here for the aliens.
And that was
I do have to admit right off the bat, I was one of the few that actually sat in the theater and watched Mac and Me.
Oh my God.
See, are you okay?
You survived. God bless you.
Good, see?
You have seen horrors. The rest of us can only
Exactly.
Imagine.
I've been
Things
there.
we've only seen during Paul Rudd interviews on Conan O'Brien. That's all.
I was one of the guys that jumped out of his chair sitting in the theater when that first note finally hit on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. After that so slow, long build, and then boom. I went, holy crap.
It's like about time. Damn.
About time, yeah. It was a long build. It was a long build.
It was. All right. And of course, we also have with us, as always, mysterious and merciless Mitch Rogers. Introduce yourself.
Mitch
How's
the
it going?
Merciless. There you go.
yes.
I love it.
I'm Mitch Rogers. I'm a 14-year, or I've been an indie comics creator for 14 years. I am the creator of the Boger horror comic book series and the Flesh and Blood collection. Soon to see another installment.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Great.
Can't wait for that, Mitch.
Yeah. And of course, we have a new panelist with us tonight, the jaunting Jarrett Lockhart. Jarrett, tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Well, I'm not as as worldly as these other fellas here, but
That's what you say. That's what you say.
I love pop culture of all kinds. I'm a big comic nerd. Kind of have aspirations of being a comic creator myself one day, maybe if I get out of my head one day. I'm here for the aliens. You know,
Bottom
That's
line.
right. That's why we hit. Yeah. That's
bottom
what we're trying.
Take
Also
this
here for the
leader.
aliens is Dan. How you doing, Dan? And I want to let you know, Randy, Dan is also a survivor. He said that I watched Mac and Me in theaters as well.
There you go.
Wow.
I saw it on VHS, so
I remember the McDonald's promotion behind that.
That was all a McDonald's promotion.
It was
Whole movie.
The whole movie.
It was a little Mac, but there was a Big Mac in there too. So
It's like watching The Inconvenient Truth all over again, only with McDonald's instead of what's his face?
Al Gore.
Al Gore. Yeah.
Al Gore. Yeah.
actually, wouldn't an Inconvenient Truth be the second time you watched Mac and Me all over again?
No, an inconvenient truth is when you admit to watching Mac and Me.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
when you come clean about it, Mitch. That's when you come clean.
That's it.
It's almost like a AAA meeting. Be like, "Hi, everybody. My name's Bob, and I'm an alcoholic." That's what you do. It's the same.
I
Okay.
saw that movie.
Can you show us on the doll? Can you show us on the doll where that movie hurt you, Bob?
Yeah, you
Right
just
in
happen
the
to
back
watch
of
it.
You're gonna need another doll.
You happen to watch a Paul Rudd movie and all of a sudden get like Nom type flashbacks to the horrors that you.
Okay, for those who don't know, who haven't watched it, every time he shows up on Conan O'Brien, Paul Rudd brings a clip of a movie. And it's supposed to be his movie. And every time he plays it, it's the scene in Mac and Me with the kid in the wheelchair running down the hill off the waterfall. And Mac coming up, "Woo!" Every damn time. Every time.
Every time.
It's classic.
I had-
classic.
It's been so long since I've seen it. I had no idea there was a redeemable clip in there that we need to have on the show.
Only Paul Rudd.
it was
Only
the whole
Paul Rudd.
McDonald's scene, right? I mean that's
The
Oh,
whole
yeah,
movie
yeah,
was a
it's-
McDonald's scene.
Oh my god.
What do you think they were thinking? I mean, what was it? Oh, 18.
Oh,
I
they
got
were
an idea.
native.
yeah, they were
native
trying to
ads.
cash
Yeah.
in on the ET phase, man.
Yeah, I was about to say that, Jared.
Yeah,
You're cashing in on
You can
that.
have your M&Ms. We'll take your Reese's. You know.
That's
Yeah.
when.
Wait.
Yeah, you see, you let these '80s cartoons start selling their toys, and who knows where the world ends up.
Yeah, God knows where
That's what it is.
I mean, I worked with He-Man, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it though?
Hopefully everybody doesn't look down on me for this. I watched it 3 times in theaters back when it came out.
McDonald's thanks you.
If you were 5, that's okay.
You should get Big Macs for life, Dan. That's what you
That's
should
what I'm
get.
saying.
That's not. That's
Walk
not
into a
looking down on.
McDonald's. Hey, I saw your damn movie 3 times. Give me a Big Mac.
Where's my Big
People
Mac?
like you that keep them in
Oh,
business.
bitch. You know,
Somebody is clicking.
is that me? Hold
What does that
on.
mean?
No.
Nope, it's not you.
Okay, hold on.
Might be me. Let me mute.
Oh,
That might have been me.
well, it's because the aliens are trying to contact you because
Yeah,
that's
probably.
we're talking about Big Macs.
Stop
That's
Sounds
talking
like a
about us.
transition.
Yeah, it did. It was
Yeah.
like that wow signal. You know
They're
what
trying
I'm
to
saying?
get through. They're like, hey,
That's what it was.
Like, hey,
they're
guys.
sending us dispatches. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. See, my man, we're here
So-
for the aliens.
That's
Let's
right.
get it.
So anyway, speaking of aliens, so has anybody here had a UFO encounter? Just wondering.
I think Stone has, apparently.
I'm not saying it's aliens, but I'm saying it's fucking aliens, bro. I mean, what else? What else can I tell you guys? I mean, once upon a time in like 1997, we had these unusual lights in Mississippi, for God's sakes. And I was just like, okay, well, we don't have
That's swamp
like
gas.
Air Force bases and stuff. I'm like, and the swamps, I said, they're too far to the west of us for the state government to say, oh, this is what this is. I'm like, you know what? When I grow up, maybe I'll, join the government and maybe I'll work in research and development for like weapons or something in the Department of Defense. When you know it, that's where I found myself. For about 4 or 5 years, and well, you learn some things. Like I said, there's some NDAs that I signed, yada yada yada. But in terms of our so-called
You can tell us.
extraterrestrial friends, I mean, well, I'll tell you. I'll send it to you in a text message so that the fellas in the black Chevrolet that are waiting outside for me.
The men in black
They won't-
Chevrolets, right?
Yeah, with a very, very dark tinted windows. They won't knock on the door right now. But
With
you
pale
learn some
skin and
things.
no hair.
Well, they'll be standing right beside them in the suit and be like, "Were you talking about Charles on that show?" I was like, "Listen, nothing against Charles. We just want to be his friend." Anywho, I've got
Go.
good and bad news.
They'll just walk
What's
up
that?
and go, just look at the top of the dildo for a second.
Could you? It's a dragon dildo because fantasy.
Oh wow!
Anyway,
Which is funny because next week that's what we're talking about. Dragons.
oh, we're talking.
Dragons.
Oh,
Dragons.
I was like, whoa, where's dispatches going?
And is it weird that I actually know that they make dragon dildos?
Oh,
Well, okay. I mean,
They
I
make,
won't say
they
that's
make
weird.
those out of anything.
we really need a more part.
So, Mitch,
With all
what's
the
your
plastic-
OnlyFans site?
Hey,
What
I'll
else?
subscribe.
I said,
What's
what was
your
your
OnlyFans?
OnlyFans site?
Oh, yeah.
69 cents.
Yeah.
So Stone had some good news and bad news.
Yeah, I had good news and bad news. Before I got to that, I wanted to segue that over to Grandmaster Zim about, aliens. Don't worry.
Aliens.
I'm not going to lose the train of thought. Yeah. So, Randy.
I never
aliens.
have. I've never had a UFO experience, though some people would consider me otherworldly. So I did miss the one time here in Flint. I'm from Flint, Michigan. A few years ago, we had a T3RB sighting, which is the large black triangle with lights on each corner with an
Thank you for
incredibly
clearing that up.
large
With the theme.
globe in the center that
Yeah.
either glows white or red. We had one float right down 75 towards the airport, and nobody got video of it. Everybody who saw it knew it was otherworldly because it was floating and moving at the same time. Bishop Airport later came out, our local airport later came out and said that they had changed their flight plans. So what they saw was probably just a plane from an odd angle.
Yeah, it's probably just a plane.
Probably
you know,
just
like
Yeah,
a,
because
like a
all planes have
747.
that globe in the middle of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
that was triangular with lights on all ends.
When
with a
was
globe in
that?
the center.
May
Just a
I
plane.
ask?
Just a
Just it's a plane, guys.
Yeah.
It's a plain old plane. You know,
What was
About
that,
what year
Randy?
was that? You
nothing
think?
worth it.
Huh?
About what year
What
was
year?
that? You think?
What is this? 2022? It was probably 2015, maybe
So-
2014.
Yeah.
So in other words, you know,
It was
I
right
kinda have to agree
before,
with-
and coincidence or not, it was right before we started having problems with the water.
Interesting.
So
That's
yeah, you
very
know,
interesting.
and I mean that's about a good year,
Coincidence?
you know, where cell phones were pretty popular, and I want aliens to be real, but you know, in the world of cell phones, you'd think you'd be able to.
yeah, I
catch
see.
somebody,
I
you
see
know?
one of those puppies. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm grabbing the phone.
Exactly, you know. I mean, who
Yeah.
no one's gonna believe you.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm like, there goes
So
Bob and Chad. You know what I mean? Like Bob
But
and
yeah,
Chad, they're like,
Everybody reported it. We have a local MUFON chapter that explores
Oh, yeah.
that kind of stuff, and there's
Yeah.
no video or anything that anybody came forward with, but there's
Strange.
plenty of sightings and reports of it.
Mm.
Getting
Sounds
that
strange.
cracking again.
So what'd you say, Mitch? Anything, you had any experiences?
No, not personally. I've been interested in the topic for most of my life. There have been over the past few years
not me.
a lot of sightings outside of Charleston here in South Carolina, just off the coast, of like ships or like unidentified objects coming out of the water, flying, going back in. It's weird.
Yeah.
We've had that here in Lake Michigan too. Spheres that are almost
some of them have been.
metallic chrome that you can.
That's
See
why
a
your water
reflection
is
off of it.
bad. They're going in and out of the water.
No, we're surrounded by Great Lakes, so
they're
Yeah.
peeing in
this
the
is
water.
way over
or
on the other
something,
side
you
of
know?
the state.
Okay.
How about you, Jared? Anything?
You know, I have not. You know, and I hear stories all the time. I'm a believer. I want to believe. You know, and of course I'm disappointed. I've never seen any. You know, I hear stories sometimes, but I just not have yet to see one myself. You know,
Right.
I go out of my way to I'll watch all the documentaries I can. You know, if it happens to pop up in the news, you know, I'll kind of Google it to see if I can see the picture or the video. You know, but nothing personal.
Always looking for that string. that piece.
I
That's
want to
something.
believe. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
guess
think. Well, when I was coming up, you also had that show Sightings that always like to really push that, you know, and so you kind of always wanted to see something. If you ever watch, what is it? My Name Is Earl, and the brother was always looking up, and he said the reason why that is because he was always looking. The brother was always looking for UFOs. That's kind of how you want to be after watching one of those. Real, it says nowadays it could be drone flying in unison.
Yeah, maybe.
Stuff drones can do, damn near alien. We get energy orbs on late night. Ooh.
I saw a group of drones flying in formation that were lights. One time when I was coming back from Detroit, and for a few minutes you thought it was UFOs.
Ah, okay.
But then you looked at it and you saw how they were moving. It's like, no, those have to be drones.
No, yeah, those
Still getting
those are
cracking
drones.
here.
Well, you know, crack is whack, kids. We're just telling you at home. Hold on. We just want to remind the kids at home that crack is whack.
Pretty sure it's
Jared,
not me.
I think that's you, bro. The dispatchers are coming into you. They say, well, you've never seen us before? They might be in your closet. You know what I'm saying? They might be knocking on your closet door. But that being said, in terms of, I want to address what Rion was saying about energy orbs and stuff. Now, the Earth is surrounded by an electric field, right? And also the magnetic field, its component.
Yeah.
And so we have energetic phenomena all the time, whether it's in the presence of a thunderstorm, because you have like ball lightning. That's been a phenomena since humans been observing stuff. And then you also have like just weird electric phenomena just because we have an electric field surrounding the planet. And you have polarizations on different surfaces, et cetera, et cetera. So me coming from a hard science physics background, I was teaching this stuff like from an undergraduate and graduate level that you have electric phenomena all over the planet. It's It's pretty usual to see. Now, those pirates and the guys that report about lights and seeing lights in the water and yada, 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 that could be a part of that electrical phenomena and some of the same phenomena we're seeing today. However, there is a discrepancy in how ball lightning or balls of electricity move throughout the atmosphere versus something that looks like a vehicle. You know what I mean? There's a big difference.
Something that just kind of moves on its own versus
it's still there. And then boom, it just takes the fuck off. You know, it's like electromagnetic fields, they have a magnitude and direction, and they flow wherever the charge likes them to go, and then the energy dissipates and goes somewhere else. If you see a ball and it's just like maintaining its luminosity, and then it looks like it zip zaps and then takes off. No, that's not a drone. No, that's not somebody in the 747 with a big old mag light shining in your face. You know what I mean? But I wanted to say this. I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news about aliens is that after we're going to go straight into the congressional hearing. What was it? Scott Baker and what was that? Arnold, somebody. But anyway, the talking heads that they had for the Department of Defense, they were well trained. They were very well trained. When they said these words, classified and unclassified, I'm like, well, that's what they told us to say in terms of public information dissemination, because there's no such thing in government internal. The government talk, you don't say classified, unclassified, you say confidential. Things that are cleared for public release, and you'll mention those words, et cetera, et cetera. So when I was listening to their testimony, yada, 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 and their presentation, I was like, okay, well, I came from there, and they were talking government jargon. But at the same time, one thing they mentioned was these sightings where there's restricted airspace or airspace where there's going to be military. I'm like, you guys let that slip? Where you see a lot of this footage where over restricted airspace, not necessarily over Denver International Airport or in Flagstaff, Arizona, or Phoenix, yada, yada, yada. They mentioned where the military will have restricted airspace. I'm like, well, what are you guys doing over there? What you guys doing? So
that's what I always thought Area 51 was. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
that's what I thought Area 51 was. Was it aliens, but experimental?
So there's two things that government's not good at doing. They're good at making stuff, but they're really not good at the top in terms of controlling information. That's the people at the bottom, like the worker bees, the workforces. Yeah, you know what I mean? So the worker bees, they're really good at what they do. The people at the top, they're really stupid. That's just government. GUBMINT. And so when they threw these guys out here, I was like, well, it's not like they couldn't find anybody better, but I was like, well, you guys let it slip that, we know that we've been conducting these field tests of what we're doing. So we're going to name it something else. We're going to call it unidentified aerial phenomena, not unidentified flying object, because we know what the object is. Yeah. You see that? So that implied meaning.
I did catch that. I didn't watch the whole thing.
It's fine. Like you would have went to sleep. It's government stuff, man. It was like watching some old C-SPAN thing, but it was just a little bit
paint dry.
Paint dry. It's like watching paint dry. But the bad news.
Yeah, go ahead.
But the bad news I have about. Do we have beam footage? Are you going to?
I'm going to show. I want to show something real quick because you're talking about the electrical.
Yeah, electrical phenomenon. Yeah, bright blue, just like my balls.
Definitely an alien.
There it is. It's going just like my balls, going down the railroad because it's. I mean, hey, not to say I just hang around railroads and whip out my balls.
Oh, they're perfect conductors,
I mean, it's metal.
Yeah. Hold on.
I mean, is this?
They're perfect conductors. That's why I keep hearing symphonies at night.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. The bad news. The bad news. We got
okay. Bad news, folks. And people in the comments. Thank you guys for joining the program. The bad news is that let's go into astrophysics for just a second. So we were looking for life on Earth. We've got a SETI program. We've had all these satellites and radio telescopes and stuff for decades, right? Trying to look for any signs of intelligent life. Well, here's the bad news. If we had a civilization in the Milky Way galaxy, which is 150,000 light years across, if we had a civilization, we would have known a long time ago. by the way, the first sighting of like aerial phenomena was like 602 or something, like in a painting. It almost looked like a giant dildo in the sky. Sorry for bringing dildos up, but it does. That's the way they drew it. I don't know.
They used to say it was like a cigar shape. Yeah, right. So.
I mean, it was phallic. All right, cigar.
There have been
It's
sightings
the
that go
sky.
back in cultures, multi-cultures, depending upon how you want to listen to them for years, about people coming down from outer space and
Well,
Right.
it's good to, it's good to
dispensing
know,
knowledge. Yeah.
Zoroastrians, exactly.
well, it's good to know our intergalactic brothers are also compensating for something. So
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
there's a
You have
number
to have
of
a sense of humor to come to Earth.
there's a number of UFOs described in the Bible, even
that's
not to get too religious, but
but yeah.
Well, to
for
be
point of
fair,
reference.
that's kind of where the myth about angels are. You know, that they're aliens. You know, and gods in general.
And
are
demons.
aliens.
right.
Yeah,
There's-
demons too.
You have these
crazy
derivatives.
talking snakes,
You
Yeah.
know, yeah,
Aliens.
well, aliens. Okay, every time I put my hands up like this, folks. Aliens.
What Stone was describing is also known as the Fermi paradox or Fermi paradox.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all ever heard of it.
no, what's that?
It's the thing that our entire universe is so big, there has to be something out, other intelligent life out there. However, if there was intelligent life out there, we would have seen it by now. It's known as the Fermi paradox.
That's the paradox.
Yeah, but I totally
There's-
disagree with that too, because if there's intelligent life out there, why the hell would they, be spending any time with us?
Yeah.
At least not out in the open.
Right. And that's my next point. That's my next point. If there is intelligent life, they would have made it known to us. But what does Earth have that any civilization, like a class 1 through 4, I think, what would he call these classes? The science fiction writer that made these classes, I forget his name, not Asimov, but it was another guy. Anywho, he ranked them from 1 to 4, and like class 4 civilization. What's that? See?
Are you talking about the what classes of
Classes of
Encounters?
technological
Civilization.
superiority, civilizations for like extraterrestrials. But the class 4, these are the ones that they've been around for at least 1 million years or more, and they've learned how to harness energy from their neighboring star. They know how to mine asteroids, yada yada yada. They can talk with their minds, this sort of thing. If we've got these types of civilizations out there, they don't want to have a damn thing to do with human beings, because we look like what? We're still in micro stages to a civilization like that, because they don't need any of our energy resources, because we're still burning fossil fuels,
But
like dummies.
They do need our reality programming.
But they want the housewives
yeah.
of Orange County.
Yes.
Okay, they want the housewives of Orange County.
maybe
They
what
need
they
the Kardashians. Okay, the
Yeah, it's like-
Kardashians are currency to them.
They want the Kardashians. So
Only
what do
this
they do? What do? They send Chad and Brad in a freaking UFO. Sometimes that's why you see them, and that's why they're so quick, because they're stealing our freaking cable, bro. They're stealing our cable so they could watch Kardashians back on their home planet, and boom, you know what I mean? So I think that's the reason why they just stick around and be like, bro, hurry up, they're bringing their cameras, bro. I'm like, man, I'm trying to get their cable, man. Just
Well, everybody knows that's why we stopped shooting, radio signals and beaming TV shows out into space and went with cable.
yeah.
It's because we were told to tone it down.
I mean, we were told
We're tired of having all of your shit interrupt our broadcast.
our
Either
broadcast.
you tone the fuck
right.
down, or we'll just invade your ass. So
And that
boom.
happened during the first season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Well, I think
exactly.
Yeah.
the first largest transmission was actually like Hitler's speech, wasn't it?
Thus HD was born.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good one for them, yeah.
So so if they heard that, then they're like, I'm out of here.
They're like, what the fuck?
These people, man.
But they'll do that to their own people.
The great well, I would say great, but the great thing about space and physics is that, like, 1 light year, just for a point of reference, 1 light year is 5.88 trillion miles, meaning that if you're traveling 186,000 miles a second, it would take you 365 days to travel 5.88 trillion miles. Now, assuming some civilization out there has accomplished this and they don't burn themselves up, right? So say they've got a spaceship that can travel the speed of light, all right? Well, if the Milky Way galaxy is 150,000 light years across, like I said, damn. Well, they should have started traveling at the beginning of the first ice age, for in Earth's history, right? And like our first humans were like 2.5 million years, so they wouldn't have been interested, and so they probably had like some giant telescope be like, okay, they're finally doing something, right? Hit it. And so they've had to have some sort of cryogenic station, for example. And maybe I'll give them a break. Maybe they live 75,000 light years away from our solar system. Yeah, maybe. And so, all right, so they started 75,000 years ago when the Toga supervolcano erupted, and just like, wow, they're fucked. Maybe we should go and help them. So now maybe those misguided aliens are on a Red Cross mission or something to come and see us. But it would take them 75,000 years to get to us. But we don't have any radio transmissions because we weren't producing radio signals 75,000 years ago. Go ahead,
Well, I heard, though, in order for them to have the combustion to basically even attempt that, we would still see it here. It would be almost like a nuclear explosion just to have the combustion to...
and for us to see it would be...
to propel them
obvious.
Yeah.
And the big thing with that, though, is you're looking at alien technology from our standpoint.
Right.
That's true, too.
From our understanding.
Yeah.
From our
Because who
understanding.
knows, they might use an energy source that doesn't cause combustion.
We've already figured out that we are
That's
literally
almost.
at the ass end of one of the spiral arms of the Milky Way.
That's right.
So why would somebody bother unless they're going to send out a probe?
We're in the boonies of the Milky Way.
We are. Yeah.
We're no one gives a damn. It's just like you were driving through somewhere in Alabama, and I promise you, there's
We're
a place
way up in the
somewhere
hills.
in
Yeah.
or way up in the hills. What the hell? What are you doing up there? Trying to get gas? Go down the street and get gas. What the hell's wrong with you? You know what I mean?
So basically, if they're part of the Q continuum, we're it, unless they're just that far advanced.
We're
We're
they
not
don't
going to
care.
know until they come up and talk to us.
Well, okay.
Right.
If
Okay,
if they haven't already, depending upon
Right.
what conspiracy theory you want to.
Lyndon B. Johnson or
I
was
like
it?
those conspiracy theories.
But
Lyndon-
let's...
Lyndon B. Johnson? Go ahead, Steve.
Eisenhower. It was Eisenhower.
Eisenhower. Thank you, Tim.
But let's take into consideration, we're taking that they're coming from a distant planet. Is there a possibility that the aliens or the UFOs that we're seeing are actually from another dimension?
Valiant Thor.
Do you want me to weigh in on that? Because
I'm sure anybody else is out there. It is on the floor.
It's
the
possible.
ultra-terrestrial theory.
All
Yeah.
they have to know is how to fold space.
That's
And
it.
as long as they can cover those long distances,
But doesn't
It's
if
not a problem.
there is a theory that says space bends, though. It's kind of a bowl, isn't it? I know there's a theory.
There's a
out there that,
concavity.
Well, there's
Yeah.
a lot of there's a lot of theories.
There's a
out
lot of
there.
theories, but
Well, that's true.
we have no way to prove.
I'm sure
it,
there's
so
a theory out there that the universe is shaped like Fred Flintstone too, but we don't know.
Well, no,
That's the universe I want to live in.
I know.
No,
a naked
but I mean,
Fred Flintstone
okay, yeah, but
This could also be
that's
a
a guy who's
simulation.
watching Ethan Van Sciver and coming up with that. I'm talking about somebody who actually knows something about space.
There's a market for that, you know.
There's a market for that.
There's a market. You know what I mean?
I
So
don't
just
have
for
that
the folks
clip to
listening,
really let everybody know what that's about.
that's a great clip. I'm just saying. So if you got two options. One, the class 4 civilization, they've understood how to harness an energy source maybe at the quantum level, and they know how to overcome the limits of conservation of energy or whatever.
Mhm.
And then they'll say, oh, well, we know what to do with the space between an electron shell and its nucleus, because there's a lot of empty space. Physical matter is empty space, to be honest with you. So they've known how to master that, and they know how to utilize the energy from it. Say they can do that. It's possible that they've developed a technology that's quiet. It might look like a star in the night sky, and they're just zipping along that's why they're be able to move so efficiently, because they're not necessarily worried about theory of relativity. Gravity is not necessarily a problem
right.
to them, because they've learned how to master the relationship between quantum and general relativity, which humanity hasn't done. Look it up. We haven't yet. There's hypotheses out there. But we haven't mastered the blending of the two domains of science yet. But given that, say, for example, in terms of the evolution, I mentioned this earlier, the evolution of humanity that took some 3 million years or whatever. Like we came from microbes, and if you want to take, the Darwin theory about this, that, and the third, and then some millions of years and come to today. Well, what if you applied that logic framework to other species or microbes in the solar system or in the galaxy? We're just going to say for this galaxy. So in the creation of the Milky Way galaxy, you had us set the timer, and then you had somebody else, say, for example, 75,000 light years away. Well, what are the odds those microbes, they evolve faster than us? Did they evolve into humanoids to become a class 4 civilization? Or what are the odds that they encountered a celestial? And this is the other bad news. The other bad news about aliens existing and close to us is that we have so many celestial disasters that take place every 1.2 seconds in space that the odds of anything surviving are 0.0001. If I did the numbers before I hit the show. But anyway, guys, don't worry about that shit. The thing is, you got things like gamma ray bursts. You have things like
don't worry about the apocalypse.
Don't worry about the apocalypse. Just
well, we can't do anything about it anyway. So
right.
I sit around.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the sun's going to explode in 2.5 billion years.
Dear God, go get your water bottles. But we've got black holes creating.
Start saving now.
Yeah. $1 a day will save you from that black hole that's going to drift into your solar system. You know what I mean? We got disasters that happen in galaxies all the time that wipe out thousands of light years across with these brutal gamma radiation interstellar winds, and that significantly reduces your chance of having a microbe surviving on a planet, let alone a solar system, having the opportunity to live in what they call the Goldilocks zone.
I was about to say, you're talking about Goldilocks.
In the Goldilocks zone. So we had the Kepler probe out there looking for Earths and stuff like that, and that's all fine and dandy. A problem is radiation. You have a special thing in Earth. We have the stratosphere, which has this really nice molecule called ozone, triatomic oxide, which blocks ultraviolet A and B. Great. That allowed for us and plants and life to flourish for billions of years, right? But maybe you don't have that molecule on other planets that look like Earth. And now you have another quandary about do other microbes could exist? Like we might have microbes on Europa. We might have microbes on Saturn's moon Titan, right? That's the methane world, right?
Yeah.
CH4. But what are the odds that those microbes are going to have an opportunity to develop into complex multicellular organisms like us that have this type of intelligence to build probes, send them out there and say, what the fuck is out there? So when you multiply, go ahead, see.
Well, the worst part is we're the first. So,
right. or we're the first.
Or the worst part is we're the last.
That's exactly.
We don't know where things sit because we're looking at, in our context, time is a fixed point that could be billions, millions, quadrillion years ahead of us, or there could still be quadrillion years behind us. The existence of life as we know it. Life is as we define it, they're going to figure out that it's really, really durable. And the Goldilocks zone that they have, that they theorize as far as the sun goes, only comes back to our organisms, not any other organisms that they might find out there. You might find an entire alien species out there that eats radiation. We don't know.
We could have complex organisms.
And that's why science fiction is so much fun, is because you're stretching that imagination.
They call that the Oort cloud, Rion.
Yeah, the Oort cloud.
The Oort cloud. But let's be honest, nobody's seen the Oort cloud. That's just
nobody's seen dark matter either, but we keep trying to prove it exists.
That we're actually the alien that possibly the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs before brought us, or the organisms that would become us, to Earth from another planet or whatever.
Some other civilization or something. That's correct.
We are the galactic Australia.
Well, that would explain
Adam and Eve were actually convicts that were sentenced here.
Yeah.
That sounds
There were
like
conflicts.
Scientology, but close.
Well, that's what
Well,
Elron was a science fiction writer before he was a theologist. So.
Before he
Yes,
was
he was.
Yeah.
Xenu, yes.
So y'all were wondering, okay, so why would they have anything to do with this?
I'm telling you, our reality shows.
Our reality shows.
Well, hold on. I want to go over. I've got some
Okay.
alien encounters here.
We
I
are
want to read to you.
Really?
We
Are
are
they
the
spicy?
we are the
well,
ant farm of the universe.
We're gonna
Are
find
there
out. Now,
are there anal probes?
well,
Yeah.
hold on.
Oh, all
Let
right.
me do it. Now, Peter Corey has had many encounters with extraterrestrial beings, but the one he had on July 23rd, 1992 stands out. Corey was in his bed when he saw two strange naked women trying to sexually engage with him.
Okay.
Well, it happens to me every Friday night.
Sounds like a Friday night.
I just wake
Then I
up.
made a
Oh
mistake.
shit, they're there.
All I need are the right drugs.
It's
There
extraterrestrial.
you
One
I
was
got some
Asian.
LSD. Okay.
One was Asian, and the other Nordic in appearance. The Nordic woman abruptly vanished, leaving behind blonde hair. Now, what makes this story believable
I've heard this one.
is
So-
that DNA analysis of the hair
Pause for a second. The Nordic woman left
But
and
the Asian
left
woman's
her
still around.
blonde hair.
Yeah.
So she just left. There's a wig floating in where she was. I'm confused.
What? Leaving behind blonde hair.
Strand.
They checked
She
the whole
shed it.
thing.
Oh,
Strand.
okay.
She-
Sorry.
She just
sorry.
shed
She
like a dog. Yeah.
Now, what makes the story? Now,
Most-
look, I
most
didn't get
aliens
this from
do.
a creditable report site, so don't
Yeah.
hold it to their language.
Okay.
What makes the story believable, though? This is what makes the story believable: is that
Okay.
DNA analysis of the hair reveals that the hair is from an individual of a very rare Chinese race.
Wow. That's very, very rare.
That's not the only spicy one. Hold on.
Ooh.
In 1994, we're going to call this guy Ming because I'm not about to try to say this last name. You know how great
Yeah,
I
we
am with that.
understand.
Yeah.
You're great with names.
Ming, yeah, right. Ming copulated with a 3-meter tall alien that had braided hair on her inner thighs. The female being appeared.
Yo, no. Pause. You're trying to tell me? All right, never. Okay, keep going. That visual. Oh my god.
The female being appeared above his bed and straddled him above his waist.
Okay.
Straddled him above
Straddled
his
him.
waist.
Above his waist with
Well,
the
obviously
braided
she
hair.
could not. It was so small she could not find it.
Okay,
A month
all right.
later, he was taken into a spaceship, which really makes the next one a miracle. A month later, he was taken into a spaceship where aliens informed him that his son will be born in 60 years on a distant planet.
Okay.
So
Now-
you got out of child support then. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
that's-
He didn't have to sign that prenup, bro.
That's a mighty long pregnancy.
Boy, I tell you.
Now, they
for him.
copulated while levitating.
Okay.
And maybe that's why she was having a hard time. They
Maybe, yeah.
copulated while levitating, and after 40 minutes, the creature disappeared, leaving behind a jagged mark on his leg. Some have concluded that Ming's claims may be partially untrue.
Maybe.
No, really?
No, really?
Wow.
100% real.
Look, I'm inclined to believe a man who comes up with a woman's hair braided in between her thighs. Who makes that shit up? I mean, come on.
You can't make
Bro.
that up.
And no man in his right mind is going to tell you the woman had to get on the stomach because he couldn't find the other thing.
Straddled him.
For
Oh
one,
my
he was
God.
either really packing, or two, it's her race. The dick is in her chest.
I'm trying to.
There you
This
go.
is like
Where's your telling
another-
that? It's an innie, not an outie.
Well, see, this species probably
Is it in
mates
yet?
through osmosis.
Wow.
That's not actually hair.
Those are my fingers.
You just got to be careful when it starts
They
wrapping
couldn't
around you.
find it either.
Yeah. Oh no. See, when it starts getting like really prickly, folks, just for your reference, if you live in like Utah, Colorado, in the wide open plains, where your cows are being strangely mutilated, if you start feeling a lot of prickly stuff, those aren't fingers, right? Those are like maybe thousands upon thousands of needle-like dicks. and they're trying to mate. So what you do, you just let it happen. Just relax. Let it happen. Just let it happen, and it'll be
All
over.
right.
You should have put that disclaimer up with the braided hair. Because I was just like, she let it grow that much? Holy smokes. What was she?
Writers, not doctors.
No, I've seen some hippie chicks, but damn.
Yeah, right.
I'm like,
You
I'm
can
serious.
braid at home. You can try that at home. You can braid, ladies.
You can braid, okay, folks? All right? And
But
kids,
there is-
lay
I
off
mean,
the psychotropic hallucinogens. Just lay
But
off.
as far as like here in America, and of course, I know y'all said the Bible and everything, but again,
Yeah.
let's take that for what it says, and let's take this for what they said, because this actually has to do. This was reported by a Puritan. During the 1600s, things such as jet engine planes and military craft were not in existence. In case you didn't know, so
Didn't
spotting
know that. Mind
anything in
blown.
the sky that wasn't a star or a planet was shocking. One spring night during 1693, John Winthrop recorded an incident during which a man by the name of James Everell and two others had been out on a rowboat on the river when a light lit up the night sky. It appeared to flame up and was estimated to be 3 square yards. It remained stationary for a short time, then sped off in the figure of a swine. What that means, I cannot tell you.
Oh, man.
The entire event was said to have gone on for hours, with the light darting back and forth above them, and even alludes to the men being abducted. Considering the distance light flew was roughly 2 miles, it was confirmed by other eyewitnesses in the area as well. And now, since this report was made by a Puritan, everybody that was involved in it was burned as a witch. So,
They said, you saw what? You saw what? Okay, yeah. It's right. You
Crazy.
stand right over there. Stand right over there. It says
yeah,
stand
that-
right here. Why? Oh, no. Just stand right there. Yeah.
But you know what? That
Yeah.
prompted me to
Get
go
in
look for. I wanted to see swamp gas. I wanted to see this light come out from the swamp. I can't find anybody freaking.
Nope.
Hey,
There's
swamp
no.
gas.
It's not
Well,
swamp.
There is swamp gas. There is, but I'm talking about enough for it to go to flame up into the atmosphere like that.
That was a bad excuse during, I believe it was Project Blue Book that Heineken gave as an explanation, and he later recanted that as just being silly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was so
He said he was
silly.
speaking off the cuff and was
Yeah.
just grasping at whatever, because
Well,
at
their
the
whole
time
point
anybody who
was to
saw a
give it
UFO was a
reason.
loon.
Well, yeah,
Their whole
absolutely.
point was to give it reason. So yeah, it was full of shit.
Yeah.
So
Well, you can't burn everybody as a witch.
no,
Yeah.
But
Nowadays,
you can
Yeah,
try.
I don't think you can. I'm not sure if you can. Maybe you guys can Google that. No, Bing it.
Bing
Maybe
it.
See,
Always.
yeah, always Bing it. See if they're still burning, people for like heresy, like they did Bruno the pork.
I'm pretty sure they're not.
You sure? Okay.
Talk about Bruno.
Yeah. Oh, we don't. Oh, okay. So we don't talk about him.
Okay.
But I want to mention this. See. Oh, did
Yeah,
you have
go
another
ahead.
story?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was saying that in the scale of the universe, the observable universe, that we have, scale maybe 1.8 trillion galaxies, plus or minus 2 trillion for error, right? Because we're looking. But what we've modeled so far is, we got onwards about 2 trillion galaxies. That's hundreds of billions of stars. Somewhere out there, just by the numbers, there's got to be a civilization. You know what I mean? They're probably like us. Hopefully, they're better than us. I would say hopefully. And if they're like us, we'll probably never see them because, damn, 2 trillion galaxies. The closest, folks, for reference, I got to say this. For reference, the closest galaxy to us is Andromeda, which is 26 million light years away. If there's a civilization in Andromeda and they've learned how to bend space and time because they've learned from, black holes or supermassive black holes, that's your greatest universal teacher. If they learn from it, more power to them. But it's like Grandmaster Zim was saying earlier, if they've got that sort of capability, they'll make themselves aware at their own discretion. And it won't be just with the United States. You know what I'm saying? Like, what would an alien civilization that advanced be like? Well, let's just talk to the U.S. government. Hey, how many governments are there on planet Earth? You know what I mean? They could pick. They could toss the coin and be like, let's talk to Canada. Just see what the hell they're up to. You know,
That's
what I
what
mean?
always bothered me about these science fiction.
Yet
shows
another
when they
reason
go to
for
a
them not to
planet.
talk to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But these science fiction shows, they go to a planet And there might be
They go-
every once in a while they have one or two different races, but most of the time it's the same freaking race on the whole planet. And I'm like, really?
Really?
In
Really?
one kingdom, one planet state too.
Yeah. It's like a lot of I work with a lot of guys, some from Nigeria, some from I've worked with Uganda, Congo, and you hear people say all the time, "Oh well, in Africa they did this," and it's just like, yeah, there's different countries in Africa.
There's different countries on Earth. If I were an extraterrestrial, you know what I mean? I would have had, we would have mapped out humanity for years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And we would have learned they would have learned all the languages, known about all the conflicts, et cetera, and they would just thrown a dart at a map if they used darts and say, well, hey, let's go there.
We would have visited them early on in their civilizations and tried to guide their sense of morals and ethics, maybe even giving them tablets with commandments on it.
Commandments, etched out.
The only problem with that is
pyramids for them.
Well, the only problem with that is when you look at the test
with strange cats in the front.
When you look at the Bible, as far as that's concerned, is you're looking at it pointing directly to God. If God is absent in that sense, then that doesn't help whatsoever.
That's where the logic framework sort of.
That's the God stands for Galactic Online Defense.
Oh my God.
I think our audience is too young. They don't know that one. Do they even know about LAN or Netscape? They don't know that one. Bing it, guys. Grandmaster Zim knows what he's talking about. Earth is the place. Alien show as an example of what not to do.
We are their ant farm. They drive by, they point, they laugh, and they move on. That's all.
Is that what it is?
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So do you know what we're looking at here?
Watch this. We're gonna hang around till somebody looks at us. They spotted us. Let's go. Boom. Yeah. Make sure you mess up their cameras on the way out the door. Yeah.
They're the ultimate Chads, man. It's great.
All right. So this is can you guess what this is?
Chad the Gray. Stop by, wave, little almond eyes. Hey, how you doing? We're just aliens. You want to come up here? We want to give you a poke.
Absolutely. It is Roswell, New Mexico. Is supposed to be
Roswell. 48,
47. June 19th.
That's a model representation, isn't it?
They
all look like models there.
Well, see, the thing is, it crashed, and the way that you see it on in movies and stuff like that, it crashes, and then they have a whole bunch of military around it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in actuality, they put out feelers for people to bring in debris if they saw something.
Yeah, that was afterwards.
Yeah, and so it wasn't exactly like they ran out there and started collecting. And the idea of the weather balloon was perpetuated because they said that it was declassified. How many years now? It's a couple of years ago. It was declassified.
That was since 2017, 18, or something like that.
Yeah, right.
And
they basically said it was kind of a spy plane or whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
But like
it
I
was
said,
proprietary technology
with little gray aliens in it. Yeah.
Right. Well, no, I was going to buy that though. I was going to buy that it was that until I read the account of the fact that it crashed and nobody was around to look at it except for a farmer. But it's like, okay, wait a minute. You mean to tell me y'all were testing out equipment? You didn't want the Russians to know what you had because 1947, you got the beginning of the Cold War. You got we're just done with Germany, so we got to have a new enemy. We got to have Russia. I just said that live. And so
what's up, Putin?
We didn't say that. Right. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's what the Clintons said.
He's watching.
Anyway,
yeah. That's
gotta have an enemy. Gotta have.
You don't know one of his hobbies is alien watching. But y'all brought up the Greys, and one of the thing about the Greys is there's a couple that was known, Barney and Betty Hill. Yeah. Now here's the thing about that, and let's see if I can share this.
Their granddaughter's a UFC fighter.
Is that right? Really? That's crazy.
Wow.
I forgot her name.
As a matter of fact, she was on Joe Rogan one day, and it wasn't until after the podcast was finished where she told him the story about Barney and Benny Hill about being their granddaughter.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Well, the thing about this is they get credited for the Gray comment. for the grades.
Hmm.
That's not true.
No.
That's not true at all. In fact, she made the statement that she kept having nightmares of people in blue suits that had abducted them and was doing experiments or whatever the case is. But let me see. This is the first alien abduction claim in the United States.
Mhm.
It was the first reported case of missing time. It was the first use of hypnotic, and I don't know if this is true, but it was the first use of hypnotic regression to recover abduction memories.
Okay.
And it was the first time a couple had claimed a simultaneous abduction.
Yeah.
So
Well,
That they have on record. Yeah.
that they have on record.
That they've got on record.
So what it went down. Go ahead.
So Barney, he actually held back a little bit. She was always a little more open about it, and he was kind of more reserved.
Wait,
And
do
it
you
wasn't
blame
until-
him? It was 1961. But you also got to take into consideration
Look
too.
at him.
They were part of the NAACP. They were part of the civil rights movement. So at this instance, he doesn't want to come off as being a fruitcake because he's standing up for something. In fact,
and I'm sure in his experience, as a black man at that time, he probably had to watch what he said.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially
I mean,
being
you-
married to a white woman, that was like
You still have to watch what you say
Yeah.
as a black man in America, Jared. Let me tell you.
To be fair.
Plus, this
Yeah.
was already well into the UFO phenomenon, where everybody who saw one were always branded as kooks.
Right.
That's correct.
So, I mean,
They're
he's not gonna be-
automatically classified. Yep.
But she's going to be all about that. But they saw something in the sky they thought might be a satellite or a plane, only it followed them. They tried to get away from it, but eventually it forced them to stop in the middle of the road, and they could see that it was an actual wingless object. With
Just want to be
binoculars.
friends.
Yeah, well, look, with binoculars, Barney even saw beings looking back at him through windows. So, maybe so. They heard a buzzing sound.
They said, "Why don't you love us? We're following you this whole time. We're following you this whole time."
they were
Oh,
just
guys.
wanting, they were just wanting to tell Barney about his extended warranty on his car.
That's what it was. Well, the next thing they knew, it was 2 hours later, and they were 30 miles further down the road, feeling hazy, not sure how they got there. Now, I have experienced absent time, but I might have just been stoned.
Hey.
Back in Portsmouth, back in Portsmouth, they realized, and of course, this is Washington, this is around Seattle.
Washington.
Back in Portsmouth, they realized that Betty's new dress was torn and her earrings were missing. Marty's new shoes were scuffed badly. They felt clammy, and most of all, they felt violated. Compass went wild when placed on their car trunk, where they had observed a collection of $half-sized brown spots.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta, if you
Yep.
gotta go.
Yeah.
Nature calls, you gotta answer. It won't leave a voicemail.
we do not know what their biological makeup is as aliens. So
We don't.
over 2 years later, they submitted to hypnotic regression, conducted by a Dr. Benjamin Simon. In separate accounts, they each told the same story from different points of view about being taken on board the craft, having a medical exam conducted, and in Betty's case, having a conversation with a leader. These tapes exist, some 11 hours of them, and they are shocking and authentic. And what I think is interesting is what I would like to see is a lawyer will tell you real quick, you can have two eyewitnesses and their accounts will tell of the same thing, but they won't be exactly alike. And I'm curious to how close they are, because if they're not, there are accounts like one will remember something differently than somebody else does.
Yeah.
Then it's a likely chance that it's authentic versus, verbatim. But
Isn't that the interesting thing about the power of human suggestion? That and Randy mentioned this earlier in the program about our earlier human cultures, where we, by whatever means of circumstance, because we always had the shamans and the witch doctors, et cetera, where we paint these types of deities. Look at the Aztecs, for crying out loud. They've got hundreds of gods. They said these people descended from the sky, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of Native American tribes, they'll call them sky people, the Zoroastrianisms,
There's a little bit of that in every culture.
In every culture,
Yeah.
right? And what I'm saying is that there's a common denominator of this fascination in human thinking or human understanding or human imagination, rather, that there's these higher beings, or there are beings bigger, greater than us, that have these fantastical powers that grant us the abilities to do wondrous things for ourselves, for our civilizations, whether it be knowledge or technology, et cetera, et cetera. You can go and watch all the seasons of Ancient Aliens about all that. But the point being is that, again, aliens.
Well, the thing about it, what was funny to me is they're talking about building the pyramids. I remember seeing this years ago, and I watched it, and they're like, "Oh, well, how did they do that? How did they do that?" And they got the Egyptologist woman there, like, it tells you on the wall how they did it.
How they did it. They were a very arrogant people. Do we not know the story of King Ramses II? The guys thought he was God on earth. Okay,
they had to build bigger tombs than the last one.
Right. And he was just like, you motherfuckers need to get up out here for me. And it's like Mesopotamia came up with like all the mathematics and stuff and before the Greeks, right? And then we had the mathematics. All we had to do was count. And then we just had to follow the damn rulers. And we drew big rulers in the sand. And we just did that time and again. And we were smart. Humans are smart enough to do this stuff. Like, don't discredit human ingenuity. Like, don't discredit human ingenuity.
Here's my question, though. Have we gotten smarter? Because we did not realize that the Mayan calendar just had an end. It's like looking at 2000. It's like
not that we've gotten smarter.
We started over.
That's right.
It really didn't have an end. It just stopped at the back end of a cycle.
Yeah,
right.
That's all. But they figured out very early on, because they were watching the stars, they were watching the sun. Everything runs in cycles.
Exactly.
And they ran their calendar up for as long as they thought they needed to for their civilization, and it ended at a certain, or they stopped doing it at a certain point. It's like trying to figure out pi.
Yeah, that's
formula
exactly.
for pi. Eventually, you're going to stop because your number is going to go on ad infinitum.
Yeah, because we don't know why they stopped. Like Randy said, they just stopped.
Obviously, it was time for lunch.
Well, the thing about
it's time to go to Denny's, bro.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the Mayan culture is we don't have a Rosetta Stone for the Mayan culture. We don't have a Rosetta Stone to tell us what.
And oddly enough, by the time they got to the end of that cycle, they wrote, "That's about when the Kardashians start." Nobody's going to pay attention after that anyway.
That's what it ended. All right, with that, let's go ahead.
It comes back.
Yeah.
Well,
with that, let's go ahead and let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back. And there was an encounter on a farmhouse in August back in 1955, and we're going to get a look at what maybe
that is.
Yeah, we're going to look at what maybe aliens might maybe.
What about Chicago in 2007?
Well, we got to work our way up the timeline, Randy.
All right, I'm just in a hurry.
All right,
he's just in a hurry.
We're gonna take some breaks for our sponsors. There you go. Anyway, here we go.
We'll all sing along.
Let's sing along.
Welcome. I am Karen Cole, and this is Fire Bitch 3. Thanks for checking out the campaign. We have a fantastic Fire Bitch book with all the bonus swag you know and love. Action, drama, excitement. Our badass babe fights an intergalactic war with a world in the balance. You will love the art and the story. We have some exclusive variant covers by us, as well as some smoking guest artists, red hot add-ons, special tiers, and sparkling stretch goals. And the cosplay! Woo! Get excited! You're not gonna want to miss this fiery campaign we lovingly put together just for you.
Now on Sunday mornings, longtime independent comics creator Randy Zimmerman brings to you a podcast that talks about the lighter and more whimsical side of comics, the fun side of comics. That's right. Sunday Funnies is back Sunday morning, 9 a.m. on the Raging 2 YouTube channel and on certain Facebook pages. Check it out, won't you? It's special guests, great talk, and a lot of fun. as we work to put the fun back in funny books. See you there.
All right, and also like to let you know, if you want to save 5% on your next Gemini mailer order because you got those comics that you're putting out and you want them to be in mint condition, go over the Gemini mailers, or type in the coupon code RAGIN2, and you can save 5% on all your Gemini mailers. Make sure that those comic books have that post office armor to it.
That's at GeminiComicSupply.com.
Yeah. Now, I was told to stop using our email.
Human resources?
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah. So I have this. So you want to ask us a question or have a comment for us to address on the show? Have an idea for a topic you want us to talk about? Email us at raginabc@gmail.com. That's the big wigs. So if you want us to
those
talk
are the
about
bosses,
it, they'll make me do
folks.
it. There's no such thing as a dumb question, but our answers might be. Oh my gosh, I should have read that ahead. And of course, if you enjoyed this show, there's other great shows on this network as well. You have RAGIN on Mondays and Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern. The show every Tuesday. We have Daphne Lage's Eagle Works on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. Our buddy here, Zimcast, on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Thursday morning at 9 a.m. we got Nerd Bacon with Luke Stone. And then, of course, we also have our Sketchy Saturday with Mike Jimmy and Marv V. Then, of course, every fourth Saturday, which I mean, that would be this coming Saturday, we have House of Bob with Daphne, and that's our sensual.
That's the one you want to tune in for.
There you go.
Want to tune in for that.
That's
one.
right.
Yeah.
And of course, Sunday Funnies again with Randy, where they talk about the lighter side of comics. And if you want to know what a lot of and if you want to know what independent comic creators think or have any advice for you, check out JD Calderon's Talking About Comics on Sunday, where he always has a panel of creators to ask them questions that you might find useful.
And he always has sex bots in his chat.
He always does. He always
JD Calderon.
All right. So, Mitch, you want to tell us about this one? You said you knew this one.
Yeah, the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter,
yes.
Also known as the Hopkinsville Goblin case. It was, like I said, 1955 in Kentucky. Yeah.
Okay.
It
was. That's right. That's it. I'm letting you go, man.
Okay. Well, I was trying to. I know it was a K state. I was trying to.
Well, what happened is, it was a farmhouse family. The son had come in to whatever the case is to visit his family. It was late at night. One of their friends went out to go get water. Saw a silver.
One of the cousins. The cousins went out.
Yeah, and went out. It was something Ray, Billy Ray, or something like that. So it's a cousin. Anyway, saw a silver disc with rainbow lights behind it land. He goes in and tells them, and they're like, "Oh, that's such bullshit." They're like, they don't believe a thing he's saying. They're making fun of him. And then they go outside, and let's see. Then the men saw a little humanoid creature that appeared to be a little man, although not quite a man. It was about 1 meter tall, with an almost perfectly round, huge head and arms that almost reached to the ground. The long arms and claws on their fingers, the creature had a thin mouth and big bat-like ears. The eyes were much larger than human eyes and glowed with a yellowish light. The creature appeared to be made of gray, silvery metal that emanated light in the dark with a phosphorescent watch die. Now, this sounds like a probe to me, but what do I know?
Hey, it's like Damien said in the chat. Lots of weird stuff.
Of course, David, you would know, right? Lots of
weird stuff comes out of Kentucky. That's because they make the shine there.
So what did these guys do?
Moonshine.
What did they do? You got this thing coming at you. These guys run inside the house, and in true Kentucky fashion,
they bring out
their shotguns.
Oh, shotguns. Okay.
They bring out the shotguns, and they have like a 3-hour-long standoff with these aliens.
You do a quart of apple pie, you'll stand off with aliens too.
Well, here's the
never had apple pie that good, apparently.
Yeah, that's pretty good apple pie, but you never had Kentucky apple pie. That's why.
Yes, Kentucky
This
apple
is true.
pie.
This is true.
Well, they also
with cousins.
Yeah. At one point, they also run back into their house, and the goblin creatures or aliens descended upon the house. They're peeking in through the windows, Yeah, and like climbing up on the roof and stuff. I mean, it was crazy.
Well, and a lot of people have heard there's actually a series on Amazon Prime where they go to Kentucky to find it because they still think that they're there living in like the mines or something. Because this is not the only. What is it?
Hellier.
Yeah.
Because they go to Hellier, Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a town near there.
Because this is not the only. The thing about it is the woman, the matriarch of the family, is a very sober Christian woman. Prayed. They did not allow alcohol in their house. Even the police had made the statement before that anybody coming in, when they went into the house, there was no signs of anybody drinking. There was no signs of any drug use or anything like that.
Before the cops got there.
Well, actually, what happened is when they found the clearing, 11 of them piled into a truck and took off into town and started and telling everybody there's something going on. But the sheriff did make the statement that it was to his widow that every time he talked with the woman about it, that there was this fear and stricken fear and terror that used to come over her every time she talked about it. So something happened. A lot of people have said that these ears here, maybe not ears, but could be like an antenna or some type of satellite dish. Maybe I'm not sure.
Maybe as an energy receiver or something like that. Maybe like the tinfoil hats. And it works the same way.
And Damien would like us to clarify he's from Louisville, known for bourbon, loose horses, and fast women, or something like that. Or I said right. Gremlins. Yeah.
Gremlins.
Now, go ahead.
What I would like to know is why didn't the Gremlins take the initiative? They had the upper hand. You know what I'm talking about. Like they had the high ground. You know what I'm saying? You've got the technology. For God's sake, just go ahead and just take them out, bro. What do you mean 3 hours? 3 minutes? What do you ninnies? What did
they want with
this family? Because it was supposed to be a quick trip. They didn't bring their supplies, and they crashed it.
And they found out that they had Kentucky apple pie, and they're just like, "We will do anything. We will fight you."
Sure, y'all got that Kentucky pie. I want some.
I want some of that Kentucky pie. Don't pay attention to my ears, boy. What you looking at my ears like that for? You want some? You want some of this?
That was their moonshine at the time. Was their fuel. They were just looking to juice back up and get the hell out.
Get the hell out.
And then they had to go to a dry house.
Yeah,
I'd be pissed too.
That's why they were looking through the window. It's like, what do you mean?
The good stuff is like rocket fuel.
Yeah.
Right?
They were crawling all over the house because they were trying to find the shine. Okay, if they were wanting to stage an assault, they would have assaulted him. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? If you're going to come from trillions of miles away and you're going to be there for 3 hours, you're there for a reason. They're trying to get some fuel, bro. They didn't want to be there for 3 hours. I sympathize with the Gremlins, to be honest with you.
They couldn't get their universal translator to work either to ask if it was time for the Kardashians.
For the Kardashians. They had however many aliens that there were. We had some aliens on the front line. Some were crawling over the house. And there were some aliens in the ship saying, I still can't get this damn thing to work. What's happening now? And one alien named Jeff said,
"Put it on your head. Put it on your head."
Because I put this on. Maybe that'll help. He's like, "Get out there, Jeff." He's like, "I don't know. Get out there." And then Steve, he's still typing up some code, and he's talking to the home planet. He said, "Why aren't you guys back yet?" We ran into some problems. Jeff is out there. He's Jeff, Charles. There's a standoff. You're like, yeah.
Jeff, just grab one, Jeff, and reel it in. Bring it in here, and we'll check his ass.
We'll check his ass. It's got to be in there, Jeff. Jeff's like,
that's
all right.
Where all the answers lie.
Why are they shooting at us?
What are they shooting? Are they shooting us from their ass? You know what I mean?
Okay.
They confuse the aliens.
That seems like a good point to start wrapping things up.
You ever see that? I'm gonna pull up that episode of what is it, Jeff and the Aliens?
Jeff and the Aliens
from Trip Tank.
Yeah,
where they're all there. The aliens are there to judge the Earth to see whether or not they deserve to still exist or if they're going to be invaded or not. And they're sitting there watching TV one day with Jeff, and Jeff lets one, farts, and it's like cocaine to the alien.
To the aliens.
Boy, they came to the right planet for that.
I know. I'm just saying, hey, to any aliens watching this broadcast, yo, we've got stuff for you.
So it's like he wakes up the next morning and there's beans in his Raisin Bran.
So Damien says, if you ever been to Eastern Kentucky, you'd know it's like a carnival sideshow in places. So that's all it is. It's just the kinfolk coming to say hello. That's all it was.
It's just kinfolk, and they were
that touches Appalachia. So
yeah, they were just distant.
Appalachia pie, apple pie. Yeah.
They were just distant, really distant kinfolk.
Gremlins, Mothman.
Sure.
New Jersey.
Whole different alien, whole different set of stories.
Yeah,
that's for our cryptid talk. Eventually, we'll have. So anyway, Jared, tell us where we can find you, man. Maybe people want to check you out. Where's a good place to look for you?
Well, I'm on Facebook, Instagram. Breaking Riot, I believe, is my Instagram name. I actually don't even know. Yeah, Jared Lockhart on Facebook anytime. Yeah.
All right, there you go. Mitch, tell us a little something about yourself. Where can we find you, sir?
You can find me at Linktree/Celtic Cross Studios.
Look at that.
There you can find my website, where you can find my online comics. I think I have my Facebook on there. I can't remember. I'm also on Facebook if it's not, and Instagram. And in any bar in Greenville, South Carolina on a Saturday night, I'll be there too.
There you go. That's
Randy, you got a few places we can find you, sir.
You can look at me on Facebook. You can try me out on Twitter. I'm over there listed as Randy Zim with 2 M's. There's a link tree for Arrow Comics 4.0. There's all sorts of sites on most of the big social platforms for Arrow Comics 4.0 that will be more active here in the very near future. And other than that, I'm working on a graphic novel and working on getting Arrow Comics back up and running. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
More stuff coming as we say.
Awesome. Stone.
Always love to have more.
Look,
stuff.
Stone, I got your book the other day.
Oh, thank you.
No, well, I have both your books, but it's a beautiful book. That is a gorgeous book.
Yeah, here it is.
I cannot rate it. Yeah, it is a gorgeous book. I don't know where you got it printed. Yeah, it's salivating. It's
salivating.
It's stimulating and it's salivating at the same time.
Yeah.
Salivating. That's what it is, folks. I'm the author behind the science fiction series with aliens, Journey of the Shadow. You see this guy here. I'm not saying he's an alien. Again, with the hands. I'm not saying he's an alien, but this is volume 1. That's been out since forever. But this bad boy, Darkness Falls, just dropped May the 7th. And I'm really proud finally getting to this point in the second installation of the Journey of the Shadow series. It took a lot of doing, a lot of support from a lot of these kind gentlemen here. And so I appreciate you guys out in the community for supporting me as a creative, as a writer. If you want to get a signed copy, you just go to journeytotheshadow.com. That's where you find me. And all this pretty stuff you see behind me, these are, I'm just going to put my voice is trailing, but I just want to direct your attention to the aliens at the bottom of your screen.
There you go.
There's a hot alien elf lady right here. Thank you. Okay. Hot alien elf lady right here. If I move the mic a little bit, okay, that doesn't do. Hot alien elf lady, right? Hot alien Imperial Commander. Hot alien blue lady, because I watched too much Star Trek once upon a time. And all of these, all of these ladies up here are extra dimensional beings. That means they exist in a plane of existence that's beyond our understanding. So if you want to know what their background and how they impact this guy's life, pick up Journey of the Shadow Volume 1 and Darkness Falls, now available. JourneyoftheShadow.com.
You mentioned Star Trek, and it reminds me of when they had the Green Woman on there.
Hell yeah.
They couldn't get the
green. In 2 episodes.
The first, I guess,
one time portrayed by Yvonne Craig, by the way, who was Batgirl in the
Batgirl.
Adam West.
Yeah,
she was.
They put her in the green makeup, and yet it didn't show up as green on the screen. They deepened the green makeup. Again, it didn't show up as green on the screen. What happened was the guy who was coloring it said, "Oh, I thought that was just something weird." He kept fine tuning her. Didn't realize she was supposed to be green.
I just thought it was a problem with the lighting. God damn
That's
it!
it.
Yeah.
I thought it was. See, where can we find you? See,
So
You
then
always take me
from
out of
there
that.
on, and all of the Star Treks and the Next Generations, they just plastered shit on their face.
There you go.
Fine.
Yeah.
Change this. Anyway, you can find me at my link tree that has all my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, portfolio, and all that other
Oh,
jazz.
God.
And of course, right back here next Tuesday with these guys at 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, where we're going to be talking about dragons. If we do this to aliens, can you imagine what we're going to do to dragons?
See, there's a dragon that
somebody
flew.
just had a lightning strike.
Yeah, I've got it coming out.
That was
They're
a
outside now.
That was a dragon farting. to be
That was a
honest
dragon.
with
Pretty
Real
much,
dragon.
yeah.
you.
I thought it was a
Definitely
government
needed.
plane going over one of our houses.
No, that's after the show. I have
Oh.
to deal with Charles the Alien and these people in these very nice, brand new Chevrolet Suburbans with these
Yeah.
dark tinted windows. Yeah.
So join us next week as we kick off Fantasy Month, where we'll be talking about fantasy topics all month of June. Anyway, so I'm going to leave you with this word of the week. Look at it as a metaphor for the government and you.
Can't do it. She'll know something's up if I do it. You have to do it. Why would I do that? Boss, do you trust me? No. Do you trust me? No. Well, if you trust me, then offer to write that speech. I don't trust you.